Hello, my dear friends and net aspirants. Welcome back to High Point. I hope all of you are doing good in your life and you are following my channels and you are studying and moving forward your dream of achieving UGC NET and JRF. Okay, so we have finished part 1 of Canterbury Tales, in which we have seen some details about the work of Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales, and as well as in detail we have seen each and every pilgrim that we could see in the prologue of the Canterbury Tales. So this video will be the second part of the Canterbury Tales, in which we will be looking at 5 major tales of the Canterbury Tales. So sum total we will be discussing 10 tales, but in part 3 we will be seeing the next 5 tales. So part 2 will be only having 5 tales, major 5 tales of the Canterbury Tales. So before moving to the main content of the video, let me remind you about my website www.highpoint.in, in which you will get contents related to English language and literature, UGC English language and literature, in the form of 900 plus audios and 300 plus downloadable PDFs, which you can keep and use further in your career, and also previous and practice question papers which you can attempt live in the website and know your marks and progress instantly. And you can get many more facilities in the form of personal care. Once you enroll into the courses, you will get to know about it. So let's begin without wasting further time. Let's begin the part 2 of the Canterbury Tales. Now, so first of all, we will see the Knight's Tale. So often questions are asked from various details related to the Knight's Tale. I have seen many questions related to it. So this is the first tale in the entire Canterbury Tale. So we have already seen that how they started telling story, that everybody needs to draw a twig of various length, and one who is drawing the shortest one, they have to start that person has to start the storytelling competition, and the knight drew the shortest one, so he started with the storytelling competition, and he tells a romance. And so he tells a romance. He tells the story of Theseus. So it is not mainly Theseus, not the character, but when the story begins, we can see that Theseus, he is married to a queen, the queen of Cynthia. Actually, Cynthia is the queen of Amazon, and he defeated Amazon army, and he married Cynthia, and he was bringing Cynthia along with her Cynthia's sister Emily to Athens. So on the way, what happens? So while he was returning after the marriage, and along with them, Cynthia's sister Emily is also there. So Emily is an eminent character here, and they were returning to Athens. And while they were returning on their journey, they met with Theseus met with the weeping woman. So the women were weeping, and because their husbands died in a war with Creon, and he needs to they died and they could not get anything to have a proper honorable cremation of their husband, so they need some peace in that matter. So Theseus, all of a sudden, he said to have restore the peace in the territory. And what happens after the war? Theseus settled everything, and Theseus won the war, and after the war he captured 2 prisoners. So actually the soldiers captured 2 prisoners, namely Palamon and Archide. They were like brothers and friends. Palamon and Archide, they were in a tower. So they were imprisoned in a tower. And so one day what they saw Emily. So Palamon and Archide, do remember these names, okay? They see Emily in a near garden. Both Palamon and Archide, they see Emily in a near garden, and immediately after seeing Emily, they were in the prison, and they immediately fell in love with her. So after seeing Emily, Palamon and Archide together, they immediately fell in love with her, and they came out of the prison. So they were prisoners and they were in the tower, and from the tower they saw Emily, and they both of them immediately fell in love with her. So what happens? By doing some crooks, doing some tricks and all, by bribing someone, or by doing some tricks and all, they came out of the prison, and they fought each other for her. in a wilderness. They were fighting for her. Palamon and Archide for Emily, they were fighting. So while they were having such a fight, Theseus happened to saw her. So Theseus is the brother-in-law of Emily, and Theseus saw, and Theseus understood their problem, their issue, why they are fighting. So Theseus suggested that, he proposed that, a formal tournament we can conduct after 1 year. So after 1 year, you have to come back with, 100 knights. Okay, after 1 year, each of you, Palamon and Archide, both of you have to come back with 100 knights, and they will conduct a war tournament. So those who are winning that tournament, they will get the hand of Emily. So after 1 year, both of them came back with 100 knights to support them. And before the battle, the day before the battle, three of them, they were praying. Emily, Palamon and Archide, they were praying. So Palamon, he made the prayers to Venus. Venus is the goddess of love. So basically, after all these tournaments, all the fightings happening, for winning the hand, for winning, for having his love. So basically, Palamon prayed to Venus and Emily to Diana. Diana is the goddess of chastity and all. So Emily wants, she to have in the most suitable person out of Palamon and Archide. And Archide prayed to Mars, who is the god of wars. So both of them, three of them prayed to the day before their battle. They prayed to their gods. So each of these gods, they actually heard their prayers, their devotees' prayers. So basically, Archide is the one who made the prayers to Mars. So basically, Mars, if the god hears the prayers of Archide, Archide has to win the war. So that's what happens. Archide won the fight. So Archide wins the fight. But suddenly, when he was celebrating, sitting on his horse and all, while he was celebrating and making gestures of victory, a sudden wind comes and the horse loses its control, and he fell from the horse, fell from that height, from his horse he fell. And what happens, he mortally injured himself and he could not survive. So before his death, Archide asked Palamon to have the hands of Emily. So basically, Archide, even if he wins the war, he could not have Emily. So he was mortally wounded. So Palamon wins the hand of Emily. So everyone's prayers actually heard by the god and goddesses. So that's how the Knight's Tale ends, and which was everyone claimed this tale as a worthy one to remember. So everyone gave a good response to the Knight's Tale. So that is the story of the Knight. So after the Knight's Tale, as the second story, we have the Miller's Tale. Okay. So the second story in the Canterbury Tales is the Miller's Tale, which is a fabulum. And the miller's name is Robin. So remember the miller's name. Miller's name is Robin. If you remember the prologue, the miller is not mentioned as a very good person, because he is, Chaucer tells us that, miller steals flour from his customers, and he also measure 3 times the customers. He actually, in order to get huge amount of money, which is illegal, or he does many malpractices to make more money, to have more flour, corn flour and all. So in that way, he's not at all a good person. So we have to also connect with that when he tells his story. Okay, he tells such a story that suits his character too. And he tells the story of a carpenter whose name is John and his lovely, beautiful wife, Alison. So this is a couple, John and Alison. Alison is beautiful and lovely. And there are 2 more characters in the story. They are 2 students, 2 university students known as Nicholas and Absalom. Nicholas and Absalom. And these 2 these 2 students, they had an eye on John's wife, Alison. So these students, they had an eye on Alison. And while John makes a trip, so John actually, he made a trip to nearby town, and he was away from his house for a period of time, and Nicholas convinces Alison to have sex with her. So Nicholas approaches her, and he convinces and he seduces John's wife Alison and to have sex with him, and Absalom also tries to get sexual favor from her. So but he Absalom could not convince her to have sex with him, and Nicholas convinces John that. So John, after a certain period of time, he came back to his family, his wife Alison, his house, and Nicholas, he came to John, and he convinces John that a great flood is going to happen, is about to happen, and we have to sleep in buckets hanging from the roof. So since it is flood is going to happen, the water level will rise, and during the night when we sleep, we have to sleep in a bucket which is hanging from the roof, so that when the flood comes, when the water level rises, we can cut the rope and we can float in the water, and so that the flood won't affect us. We can save ourselves. So Nicholas convinces this actually very foolish thing, the innocent John, who is not at all aware about Alison's treachery, Alison's doings, Alison's relation with Nicholas. And what happens next? So what happens? John must be sleeping in the hanged bucket all the night, and while during that time, Nicholas and Alison slept in the bed, and when in one such night, what happens? What happens? Absalom comes and begs for a kiss from her. So while Nicholas and Alison having good time at the bed, during such a night, Absalom, the other university student, comes and begs for a kiss from her, and Alison comes and shows her buds to kiss, and she farts. So this is the most abominable thing that Alison does. So Alison comes and shows her buds to the mouth of Absalom. So Alison comes to the window and she shows her buds to kiss, and she farts on the face of Absalom. And this annoys Absalom to a great deal. And the next day he again comes back, and again he begs for a kiss from Alison. And what happens? Now he has a hot poker with him, a hot iron rod with him, and while other person, whoever comes to kiss her with their butts, they will get a hot hit from whom? From Absalom. So that was his plan. So when Absalom was asking a kiss, this time who comes? This time Nicholas showed his butt and he shouts water. So because of the beat, because Absalom hit the butt of Nicholas, because Nicholas showed his butt to kiss. Nicholas showed his butt to the mouth of Absalom. So Absalom hit his butt with that hot poker, that hot rod that he had with him. And what happens? Nicholas shouted, "Water, water!" because his butts got burned. So hearing this, what happens? John is sleeping in that hanged bucket, right? So he's felt that flood has come, the water level rised. So John cut the rope, and finally, when he fell down and he finds no flood was happening, John was cheated by Alison and Nicholas. When he got revealed that he also, got to know every other plan of his wife and Nicholas. So in that way, the story ends. The Miller story ends. So do remember the story of the carpenter, his lovely wife Alison, and two university students, Nicholas and Absalom. So here, the Miller's name is Robin. Remember that too, and it is a family. The next story we have in the Canterbury Tales, is the third story, The Reeve's Tale. The Reeve's Tale is again a fable. It's about a miller. So Reeve's Tale. So, see here, we have to understand that, the Miller's Tale, it was basically about a reeve. So the carpenter, here originally we have a reeve in the Canterbury Tales. In the prologue, among the pilgrims, we have a reeve. So Miller tells a story of a carpenter, but the reeve was initially a carpenter. So the reeve got offended by the story of Miller. That's why, in order to repay in order to have a revenge upon the miller, the Reeve tells the story of a miller. So remember that. So these people are too mean in that way too. So this is the third story in the tale, which is the Reeve's tale, and it is again a family, and it is about a miller. Reeve tells the story of a miller. And the Reeve's name is Oswald. So the Reeve's name is Oswald. So here the miller, the story got a miller, and Reeve is going to tell the story of a miller, and the miller's name is Simpkin. Simpkin, a miller who stole wheat brought to him for grinding. So, Simpkin, like the miller we have here, Simpkin also he steals wheat brought to him for grinding. Simkin got a daughter too, and her name is Malaine. So remember this name. Simkin's daughter's name is Malaine. And another two characters are there. There are two students, namely John and Alain. So remember the character's name. The miller's name is Simkin, and his daughter's name is Malaine. And Simkin got a wife, and the couple got a small kid too. And the two students are there, John and Alain. And John and Alain, they knew about the miller's malpractices with his customers, stealing wheat and flours and all. So they were both, John and Alain, they vows to beat the miller. And they pledged to teach a lesson to this corrupt miller. And they came to the miller to grind some wheat. So what happens? John and Alain, they come to the miller to grind some wheat, and they pretend that they are ignorant about grinding. So John and Alain, even though they are students, they are university students, they pretend that they don't know anything about grinding. They are absolutely ignorant about anything related to grinding and milling and all. And taking this as an advantage, and Simkin believed that even though they are John and Alain, they are university students, they don't know anything about it. Because of that, Simkin could take an advantage over John and Alain. So what they did, Simkin actually untied the horses of John and Alain. So John and Alain, they went on looking after their horse. So when they returned back to Simkin, they could not go back. Now it is already night, so they have to stay there in Simkin's house. So what was their plan? They planned to seduce both Simkin's daughter and his wife. So it was like, daughter was sleeping in one room, and Simkin and wife and also John and Alain in one room. So in one bed, Simkin and wife was sleeping, and John and Alain in the same room in another cot. Okay. So along with Simkin and his wife's cot, there is a cradle in which their kid is sleeping. So it was like, Simkin and the cradle is situated near their bed, Simkin and the wife's bed. Okay. So what happens? In between, something really funny happens. So in night, what happens? Alain sneaks into the daughter's bed or daughter's room, and Alain and his daughter Malaine, they slept together, and John slept with the miller's wife. So what happens? So the miller's wife wake up, and she went for something, and during that time John did what? John actually pulled the cradle, and he made it nearby his cot. So that is a sign that the cradle is nearby Simkin and his wife's cot, along with their cot. So when she returned from the things that she was doing, she saw that the cradle is near this cot. So immediately, without any doubt, she went to that cot, and she slept with John. So John, in between, in her absence, he pulled the cradle to his cot. So this actually misled Miller's wife, and she went to John's cot, and she slept with John. So in the morning, both the miller and his wife came to know about all the things happened during the night, and this all happened because of the misdeeds done by Simkin. And with that, king and his wife also learned a lesson, a very good lesson. And all this happened because of the greed of the miller and his wife. So in that way, the story. So this is the funny story that we could see in the tale, and it is told by the Reeve about a miller. And the Reeve's name is Oswald, and remember about the character's name too. The next important tale in the Canterbury Tales is the Wife of Bath's Tale. So, Wife of Bath as a character, Wife of Bath is known as the most developed character in the Canterbury Tales, and she tells an Arthurian romance. So, Wife of Bath tells an Arthurian romance, and this is first of the marriage group of tales. So, Wife of Bath's Tale is first of the marriage group of tales, and here a knight is there. So Arthurian romance consists of a knight, and this story happens during the time of King Arthur. Okay, and this knight, he rapes a young maiden, and the maiden dies. So the knight is not a very good person. The knight rapes a young maiden, and this maiden happens to die because of that. And he was caught, and he was brought to justice before the king, and he was condemned to death. King Arthur condemned or sentenced him to death, and but queen interrupts. So the queen interrupts, and a king allows to pass the judgment upon him. So a king allows the queen to pass the judgment related to him upon him, and she said that, she said it like this: and if he comes back with the right answer for the question. So the queen puts a question before the knight, and the knight comes. If the knight comes back with the right answer to this question after 1 year and a day, then he will get his life in return. No more the sentence of death will be there if he has the correct answer for this question. So she said that, if he comes back with the right answer for the question, what women desire most, what most of the women desire most. Okay, so this was the question, and he has to find out the correct answer. Whenever he has the correct answer, he can comes back to the court, and he can present with his answer, the right answer. So if it turns to be the right answer, then he could have his life. Okay, he has to come after. He only gets a year and a day to find out the correct answer. If he cannot find out the right answer for the question, then he will lose his life. So that was the condition. So he wanders here and there, asking question for everyone, and no one could give him a good answer for the question, and he meet with a hag. So after wandering here and there, finally he met with a hag, an old woman, and she said that she knew the correct answer. So she said to the knight that, for this question I know the correct answer, but she makes a she makes a deal that if this answer given by her turns to be the correct answer for the question, he has to marry her. Okay, so and knight also says that, whatever, if this answer turns to be the correct answer, then he could give anything that that she demands, she asks, if the answer is correct. So she considers that, and she tells the correct answer to the knight, and he goes to the court, and he tells the answer for the question that most women want sovereignty over their husband, and this was the correct answer, and the hag asked the knight to marry her in return. So anyway, the knight swore that he will give anything that she asks if the answer turns to be the correct answer. Okay, so considering that she tells the answer, and the answer was that most women want sovereignty, full power over their husband, and this was the correct answer, and the answer turns to be the correct one. So at that time, the old woman wants the knight to fulfill his promise that he swore to her, and she wants the knight to marry her. That the knight could not imagine, but the knight, since he got his life back because of the answer given by that old woman, because that he gave his word to her, he agrees to marry her, and the old woman asked him to kiss her. So since he agreed to marry her, she said that anyway she got the sovereignty over him, and now she asked him that he has to kiss her, and he uh, also uh, he did that. He does that. He kisses her, and after the kiss, she turned to be a beautiful woman. She transformed into a beautiful woman from that old lady. So this is what happens, and they lived happily thereafter. So this is the sum total of the story told by wife of Beth, and this is an Arthurian romance, and this is first of the marriage group of tale. So do remember about this all this question and the answer for it, and what happens later in the story and how the story ends. So this is the story of wife of Beth. So the next story the next important story is the Clerk's Tale. Clerk's Tale is a folk tale. So Clerk's Tale is a folk tale, and so do remember the category, the genre in which each of these tales belong. Everything is not. Every tale is not a fabulous. Everything is not a romance. Everything is not an Arthurian romance. Everything is not a folk tale. So do remember the categories, the genres in which each of these important tales belongs. Okay. So the Clerk's Tale is a folk tale. It is about a marquis who is named as Walter. So the story is about a marquis, and his name is Walter. And his subjects, Walter's subjects, they asked him to marry, to have a heir. To have a heir, he has to marry. Walter has to marry. So he decides to marry a peasant girl named Griselda. So Walter decided to marry a peasant girl, Griselda. Griselda was so poor, and she was starving to live. So this was a blessing for Griselda. But in order to marry her, Walter only demanded only one thing. What was that? Walter demanded that Griselda needs to be loyal to him in any case. So if Walter asks Griselda to do something, absolutely she has to follow that. With that deal, Walter marries Griselda. So they married, and after their marriage, what happened? So in return, marrying her, he only asked absolute loyalty from her in every matter. So this was the only demand that Walter put before Griselda. If only she agrees to this demand of Walter, Walter will marry Griselda, and Griselda agrees to it because Griselda was so poor. This is a blessing for her. And after their marriage, what happens? She gave birth to a baby girl child. And at that time, Walter decided to check or test her loyalty. Okay, so only at that time, Walter decided to test Griselda's loyalty to him. And what he did, he took away the child from her. So after the birth, the girl child was it, and the child was taken away from her. So he continued this to every other child that she gave birth. So she was not allowed to take care of her children. Immediately after giving birth, her children were taken away from her, but she remained so silent. She remained so loyal to her husband, and because that was the deal made by Walter during the time of their marriage, before their marriage. So Griselda remained faithful and loyal to Walter. And after many years passed, and Walter now decided to have a last test upon Griselda's loyalty to him, and in which he forged a papal decree that which he could leave Griselda. So according to, he actually made a fault papal decree, and with that decree, what he could do, he could leave Griselda and remarry another woman. So he made a fault papal decree telling that he could leave Griselda and he could remarry another woman. And he asked Griselda to prepare for his new wedding and prepare everything for his new bride. Okay, so Walter asked Griselda to have everything to prepare his new bride, and he brings daughter, his own daughter as his new bride to Griselda, and asked Griselda to prepare this new bride for him. So even then Griselda remained very loyal to Walter, and she did everything for the new bride, and also she did everything to, everything for this marriage ceremony to happen. But since she passed whole loyalty test done by Walter, and what happens? Walter revealed everything to her, everything to Griselda, that every other children that she gave birth, they were taken to some other place and they were nurtured there, and this is not his new bride, this is their daughter, and she was so happy seeing seeing her children. She became so happy, and she got to know everything what happened. And actually Walter was testing all these years about her loyalty, and she saw her children alive, and they lived happily thereafter. Even though personally I don't favor this story, but this is a story, this is a folk tale about Walter and his peasant wife Griselda. So do remember about Clerk's Tale as a folk tale, and remember the characters in it, and basically Walter was testing the loyalty of Griselda in it, and how they happily reunited after it. So these are the five major tales of the Canterbury Tales. Five more are there, so that we will see in the part 3 of the Canterbury Tales. And if you have any suggestions, queries, questions and doubts, do mention that in the comment section, and also mention if any topics that you want me to make about UGC NET English language and literature, that make a mention there in the comment section as well. And you can find me in these platforms. You can visit my website www.highpoint.in and have a look at it. You can know what you have to study for UGC NET in various topics as well, and you can have all these materials available there if you want. And also you can WhatsApp and call in this number if you want any further helps for personal helps for your UGC NET English language and literature. And also you could email me in this email address. So that's all about this video. Let me meet you in the next video. If you like my video, please press the like button, and let's meet in the next video. Until then, bye bye and thank you.